If you need help taking your brand from something like this to something like this, then you've clicked on the right video. In around 10 minutes, I'm going to share with you all the knowledge that I've learned over the last 3 years on how you can completely transform your brand to be professional, sleek, and aesthetic looking. And we're wasting no time. Let's jump right into it. Okay, so the first most absolute important non-negotiable thing that you need in order to have an aesthetic brand is going to be a brand kit. And this is going to be paired with a professional logo. I've talked about this many times before, but I quickly want to reiterate because this is the key to having a cohesive and aesthetic brand. If there is anything to take away from this video, please let it be this. This is why I put it at the very start of the video, because if you don't have a brand kit or a professional logo, your brand will not be aesthetically pleasing. I will quickly touch on what a brand kit is, and in fact, I actually have a tutorial on how to create one, which I'll get to a little bit later. But essentially, a brand kit is going to be the blueprint for your brand, all things visual. A brand kit will include your primary professional logo, your sub logos, your brand fonts, your brand icons, clip art, things like that. And this is so that everything in your brand can be cohesive. You use the same exact fonts every time. You use the same exact logos, the same brand pattern, the same colors, everything. And this is to ensure that everything is consistent. So while you're creating your websites, to your packaging, everything is the same color, the same text, and everything matches. And so this is the key right here to having everything look aesthetically pleasing, everything look professional, put together, having a brand kit and a professional logo. Now you may be wondering, what makes a logo professional? I'll explain to you now. So when I first started my business, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I didn't know anything about graphic design, anything like that. So what did I do? I did the same thing that every new small business owner does. I fell victim to those logo templates that every other business uses when they first start. And not only are those templates so repetitive and seen across so many new businesses, they are not even in a professional standard. I won't go too much into detail, but I've included some examples of some professional looking logos and some not professional looking logos. And the main difference is that professional logos can be separated by text, shapes, and colors. And the non-professional logos are very intricately designed and they're just kind of all over the place. And I do have tutorials creating a brand kit completely from scratch using Picsart. If you haven't heard of Picsart, it is an amazing designing software that is super beginner friendly. It's a great place to start creating a logo from scratch if you're new to graphic design. And as you can see from the clips shown, I am simply using text, shapes, and different elements to create this brand kit. And you can create any kind of logo on Picsart. They have so many different fonts to choose from, so you can totally make it your own. And Picsart has a lot of helpful tools for you guys to use if you guys ever need help with anything. They have things like the AI background tool. They have the remove backgrounds tool, which I use all the time, generate AI images, and even a design logo tool. And that reminds me, I actually do have a full tutorial on creating a professional logo from scratch using Picsart as well. And once you created your logo and brand kit, you could save that to Picsart and use that to create your packaging as well, which I have tons of videos on too. So if you want to check out Picsart, you can try it today for free, and I will have that linked in the description for you guys. The next step to having an aesthetic brand is to have cohesive packaging. Now, don't flinch because I'm not saying custom packaging, I'm saying cohesive packaging, and here's the difference. Cohesive packaging simply means paying attention to details. For example, if your brand colors are green and white, you're going to want to stick to those colors when it comes to packaging. You don't want to package with stickers that are colors like pink or purple, yellow. Your shipping boxes or your shipping envelopes should either be white or green. You don't want to package anything that's outside of your colors. Unless it's something like a craft color or a cardboard color, because that's neutral. It can go with pretty much any color, especially if you have more unique brand colors that might be hard to find in shipping options. But the gist of it is just to stick to colors that are on brand. Now, this doesn't have to be expensive. There are so many options across Amazon. And in addition to that, you can actually print your very own things right from home if you have a printer. So if you do want custom packaging, let's talk about it. First things first, custom packaging does not have to be expensive, especially if you're just starting out. While custom packaging is not necessary by any means, especially if you're just starting out, if you have the time and the budget and you want custom packaging, I definitely recommend it, and here's why. What you guys have to understand is that it's not just a package. The stickers, the tissue paper, the box, or whatever the case may be is all an experience for your customer. The smallest details can truly make a huge difference. Think about it. This is just an example, but it's kind of like with Amazon. You know you're going to get your package in a brown box with some brown craft paper and your product just thrown in there. And just to throw it out there, there's nothing wrong with that. I am simply explaining the difference in feeling when you receive something like that versus something that is nicely packaged, thoughtful, and detailed. It creates an entirely different experience for your customer and makes them feel good. So if you are thinking about custom packaging, I definitely recommend it. And a lot of people think that it's expensive. And I won't lie to you, sometimes it can be depending on where you order from, quantities, all of that. But if you are just starting out and you're on a budget, I used to make all my packaging right from home when I first started. I have so many videos on it, and I will link that playlist in the top right corner for you guys. And the last thing I want to touch on when it comes to packaging is freebies. Now, this one is kind of controversial, but in my personal opinion, some freebies make brands look really unaesthetic. I'm going to use my brand as an example. This is how I package my orders. Now, here's what it would look like if I threw in a Jolly Rancher or some random candy. It looks tacky, in my opinion. Not only do the colors not even match my brand, it has nothing to do with my business and ruins the overall flow. I promise you, you're better off not even adding a freebie if it's going to kill the vibe of your packaging. Again, you guys, the smallest details make the biggest differences. Moving on to the next thing that can make your brand more aesthetic, and this is going to be all about social media. Believe it or not, you guys, a sloppy, messy social media page can drive away customers. Mind you, that also applies to websites. Your website should also be really nice, cohesive, and professional looking. But back to the social media pages, I'm going to show you what some of mine look like when I first started versus now. So this is my TikTok account when I first started. As you can see, I have the janky logo, and then scrolling, you can see that there are just so many colors. It's sloppy, it's inconsistent. And overall, there's just a lot going on and it's not very pleasant to look at. And compared to now, you can see that I've made a lot of improvements with my logo, the colors, and making sure that everything is consistent and on brand. And when you scroll through the page, everything is flowing really nicely. This leads me to my next way that you can be more aesthetic, and that is creating a setup when you film videos or pictures or any content that has to do with your brand. I personally recommend having a setup, a designated space to film that content. And of course, this will vary from brand to brand depending on what you sell, what you do, what kind of content you make. But what I do, and I've seen a lot of success in this, is that I have a designated packaging station, for example, where I film pretty much 90% of my videos. It is a designated set, and that mainly has a lot to do with my content. I do post a lot of like packaging videos, ASMR type stuff. But when I'm not filming those types of videos, and if there's something else that I'm going to show, I make sure whatever environment that I'm in, for example, I do have a designated office, I make sure that everything is on brand within the office. And that's to ensure that no matter what I film, the environment that I'm in, where I'm filming, is going to be on brand no matter what. This is going to create consistency within your content and not only help with your brand awareness, but your brand's aesthetic as well. In addition to that, since we're on the topic of content, another way you can help your brand's aesthetic is to make good quality, good lighting, crisp content. And there is layers to making good content. A big portion of it is the aesthetics, which is like the visual features of it, the lighting, making sure the video is stable, it's not moving. What is being shown, the visual aspects are aesthetic and nice to look at. The quality is clear. The sound is crisp. There's no raspy noises in the background. All of that has to do with vanity. So if you put the effort into that, it will reflect on your brand's aesthetic. But unfortunately, you guys, that is not enough. What's the point of having all those nice features if you're going to be creating sloppy content? And this is where a lot of people get it confused. Sloppy content will hurt your brand's aesthetic. I feel like it depends on the person, but in my personal opinion, it's things that have nothing to do with your brand or your business. I'll give you a good example of what that might look like. For example, sloppy trends or videos that are just desperate for you to get customers. The shop small, support my small business type content. That is sloppy content, you guys, and that is not going to help your brand's aesthetic. And don't worry, you guys, I've made these same mistakes myself. That is exactly why I'm telling you what not to do, because I've learned from them and that was not helping me at all. If you've done some of these things or all of these things wrong, don't worry about it, you guys. It took me probably 3 years now to finally figure it out. And I'm still learning new things every single day. I'm constantly changing things up. You will never stop growing, you guys, and that's the beauty of it. Looking back now to where I first started with my very first logo and me packaging my very first order, you can see that there's been so much improvement. But at this time in my life when I was first starting, even when I was packing my very first order, it was so fun, you guys. I didn't care how anything looked. I was just having so much fun, and enjoy the process while you can. One day you're going to look back and you will never have that time that you have now when you're first starting your business. So enjoy it, because right now you're probably feeling eager to make your brand look more aesthetic, but I promise you, once you finally figure it out, you're going to miss trying to figure it out, if that makes sense. And seeing everything come together is going to be chef's kiss. You will never forget that moment. But I do hope this video will help you speed up the process, and if you found it helpful, please leave a pink heart in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you have any video recommendations, leave those in the comments as well. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on your post notifications so you never miss a video, and make sure to check out my TikTok and Instagram for more content, and I will see you in the next one.